Welcome to Talk to Al Jazeera. I am Mohamed Ado in Addis Ababa, and with me here is Ethiopian Prime Minister Zenawi. He presides over the country with the second largest population in Africa. He is also a trusted and loyal friend of the United States in its so-called war on terror. Most recently, he's been in the news for sending his troops into Somalia to help the frail government there overthrow the Islamic Courts Union. Now the United Nations says his country is on the verge of war with Eritrea. Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Tension is high at your disputed border with Eritrea. There is troop build-up on both sides of the border. Are you going to war?
No, absolutely not. I am rather surprised at this hype in the international media about a possible war between ourselves and Eritrea. My feeling is that there is not going to be any war between us and Eritrea for two rather simple reasons. First, on the Ethiopian side, we have nothing to gain from war, and we have repeatedly and publicly stated that we will not go to war with Eritrea no matter what. There have been many provocations on the part of the Eritrean government, but we have clearly stated that the only time when we would respond is if there is full-scale invasion of our territory. That's the only condition. And so, because we do not want to go to war, one side of the equation is absent. The other side of the equation is, of course, the Eritrean government. Now, my feeling is that the Eritrean government recognize that if it were to invade Ethiopia, it would be tantamount to an act of suicide. And I have no reason to believe that the Eritrean government is suicidal.
You said that Ethiopia won't shoot first and would not ignite conflict with Eritrea. But what's happening right now is there is military build-up on both sides. Eritrea is said to have sent its troops into the temporary security zone, while Ethiopia is arming itself and taking its troops to the border. Are you ruling out any preparations for war on your side?
Let me stress again, we are not saying we are not going to shoot first. We are going beyond that. We are saying we are not going to shoot even if Eritrea shoots, so long as Eritrea does not engage in full-scale invasion of our territory. I want to stress that point. The only thing that would result in our response would not be some provocation here or some provocation there. We're prepared to live with such provocations, and we have lived with such provocations for some time now. The only time when we will respond is if there is full-scale, and I repeat, full-scale invasion of our territory. So we don't see any radical change as far as the Eritrean side of the equation is concerned. On our side, we have always kept ourselves prepared and ready. First, to deter invasion, to make sure that the Eritrean government does not miscalculate. And second, if the Eritrean government miscalculates and invades our territory, to make sure that that we are in a position to defend ourselves. So there has not been any significant additional build-up. My guess is that because in November the Boundary Commission has decided that it's going to disband in November, people are expecting the worst based on that calculation alone. Otherwise, I don't see any radical change on the ground that would encourage such assessment.
The International Boundary Commission that has been mandated with the task of demarcating the border now says it's going to wind up its operations, and it says that it will demarcate on the map where the border between Eritrea and Ethiopia passes. Will you agree to that?
Well, let's separate the two issues. First, there is a delimitation decision. Now, we have had our reservations with the delimitation decisions. Nevertheless, we recognize that it's a perfectly legal decision. And therefore, we have accepted the delimitation decision as legal and binding without preconditions. The Security Council in its recent statement reiterated the fact that both Eritrea and Ethiopia have accepted the delimitation decision unconditionally. With regards to the so-called virtual demarcation, most legal lawyers would tell you that this is a legal fiction, that it is nonsense. Delimitation is on the map, demarcation is on the ground. There is no such thing as virtual demarcation. And so because it is a legal nonsense, we'll treat it as such.
So you're not going to agree to the marking of the border between Eritrea and Ethiopia on the map?
There is no such thing. Demarcation is a process of putting pillars on the ground to show where the border is. There is no such thing as virtual demarcation. As I said, it's a legal nonsense, and we will treat it as such.
Mr. Prime Minister, this has been a long-standing conflict, and you've always said that you, in principle, agree with the decision of the Boundary Commission. If that is so, why are you not ready to compromise for the sake of peace between you and your neighbors?
Well, we have been very eager to engage in dialogue, and in order to compromise, you have to engage in dialogue, of course, to engage in dialogue with the Eritrean government and come up with a viable solution. I'll give you one simple example. With regards to the delimitation decision, initially we had serious reservations about the decision. We expressed our reservation to the Boundary Commission itself. The Boundary Commission did not wish to address them. We expressed those same reservations to the Security Council. The Security Council did not address them either. And so in spite of our reservations, we said we'll accept the decision in principle because it's a legal and binding decision. We assumed that our acceptance of the decision in principle would be adequate for the Eritrean government to engage us in dialogue. Apparently it was not adequate. The Eritrean government insisted that we should accept the decision unconditionally. So we said, okay, we'll accept the decision unconditionally. And we wrote a letter to the Secretary General of the United Nations expressing that. After we made this unequivocal decision, still the Eritrean government said it's not prepared to engage us in dialogue. In order for us to compromise in the interest of peace, we have to be able to talk to each other. The other side is unwilling to talk. As soon as it is willing to talk, we'll engage them in dialogue, and there, in the process of dialogue, there's a lot of room for give and take. There's a lot of room for compromise in the interest of peace, lasting peace between the two countries.
You've been quoted in the past as saying that it's only by regime change in Eritrea that peace between Eritrea and Ethiopia can be achieved. Do you still believe so?
Our interest is peace between these two countries. Technically, we don't mind if the Eritrean people put a monkey in the National Palace of Eritrea. It's up to them, it's their business. What is our business is peace between the two countries. And so long as there is a government that is prepared to engage us in dialogue, we don't mind talking to anybody, and we don't mind coming up with an agreement. So regime change is not Ethiopia's agenda. It could be Eritrean people's agenda, but that's their business. As far as we're concerned, our business is not regime change. Our business is peace.
In Addis Ababa today, Ethiopians and Eritreans are coexisting and living in harmony, while politically the leaders are going for each other's throats. Is the problem with the leadership?
I think so. Because as you rightly said, the Eritrean people and the Ethiopian people are not only close neighbors, they are also cousins. So technically there should be no reason why the two countries should be so estranged from each other. I think the real problem is leadership and policy followed by leadership.
We are now going to take a break. Stay with us on Talk to Al Jazeera. With us today is Ethiopian Prime Minister Zenawi.